So earlier this week in my last video, I listed 3 questions I have for OU softball entering fall ball, which you can watch right there in the corner of the page. But let's get positive for a moment because I think there's a lot to be excited about. In fact, there's a lot more things to be positive about than even questions at this point for 2025. So let's get to it. Here's 3 things I already like heading into fall ball for this OU softball team. First off, let me say, yes, I could easily list the coaching staff as one of my reasons, but I'd rather focus on the actual makeup of this roster. But yes, absolutely. So nobody gets mad at me. I'll say it. The coaching staff is something I don't just like, but I love. And the fact that they're ready to maybe roll up their sleeves a little bit this season is very exciting to me as well. But when I think of things I already like about this team, it's the offense that immediately comes to mind for me. And yes, you lose some of the greatest players to ever put on an OU uniform. But even with that being said, there will be a lot of 2024 production in this lineup, whether it was at OU, whether it was elsewhere. There's a lot of proven commodities that will be in this order in 2025. For instance, look at these numbers. 5 players with over 40 hits, 3 with over 70, 345 hits collectively, 277 RBIs, and 61 home runs out of the 6 position players listed here. Is that the most returning production an OU offense has ever had? No, of course not. But it's a pretty good start when you consider this OU team may have the most to replace of any team in college softball history. But still, even with that statement probably being accurate, guys, I really like this offense. And here's what I think this offense is going to do well this year. Everything. Seriously. That's what I believe today in August. Now, how much power will this team have? How many home runs will they hit in 2025? If you disagree with my everything take, that's probably the first thing that you're going to throw back to me. And yeah, I don't think that there's a Jocelyn Allo in this lineup, nor will there be a Jossie in this lineup. And don't expect the power numbers to look similar to what they did 2 and 3 years ago or even last year. But I think they'll have enough power. 4 hitters return with double-digit home runs, and is it fair to assume that they might increase their power numbers with better hitters surrounding them in the order? I think so. And there's other reasons why I think the power numbers will be good enough, but that's just one part of it. This team is going to be able to hit for average. Look at these numbers. This graphic is insane. This team is going to be able to get on base, and I think this team is really going to be able to manufacture runs. Now, we're used to manufacturing runs, meaning a 3-run home run. Maybe that doesn't happen as much this year, but this offense is going to consistently put the ball in play, and it's not going to strike out very much because the returners that they have at OU or elsewhere, that's what they've done throughout their career. They've hit for average, they've gotten on base, and they haven't struck out very much. This team is going to have a lot of tough outs in the order, and that gets me excited because I don't need an incredible amount of home runs to be entertained. So once again this year, top to bottom, this team is going to hit, and it's the number one positive I currently see with this team. Second thing I really like about this team is the speed, the team speed. This goes for at the plate, in the field. Speed kills. Does not matter the sport. And I think this team will have a good amount of speed up and down the order and even on the bench as well. Maya Bland, incredibly fast. We've seen that. Abby Dayton, incredibly fast. We've already seen that. Ella Parker, who you may view as a power hitter. I don't know. She had a great average, great numbers last year. She led the team in stolen bases. How many of you knew that from last year, that Ella Parker led the team in stolen bases with 17? She was 17 of 21 stealing bases a year ago as a freshman. Remember that stat. I think I need to do an entire video on Ella Parker's incredible freshman year last year and the true ceiling of what she's capable of. We'll get to that at a later date. But Maya Bland was 8 of 11 stealing bases last year. Pickering was 5 for 5. Agbayani had 12. Dayton had 10. Do you guys get the point just yet? This team will get on base. I already told you that. I think it's proven to be true already throughout their career. But they are going to be an absolute terror once they get on base. And the amount of pressure that puts on an opposing pitcher, I don't care what conference you're in, that matters. So speed on the base paths. And I cannot wait to see that. But also speed defensively. Don't count that out. Your outfield is going to be able to cover a lot of ground anytime Maya Bland and Abby Dayton are in the outfield. And I project both as starters, and I haven't even talked about this freshman class yet, and you know that they're going to be able to run. So I see this as a very athletic team with a lot of speed And I don't think that there's going to be very many teams in college softball this year that will be able to run with the Sooners. So don't be surprised. Don't at all be surprised if at the end of the season, this team ranks very, very high in stolen bases because, frankly, I'm expecting that from this squad. Reason number 3, pitching depth. Now, if you saw the video from earlier this week, me talking about the 3 question marks, I asked who's the ace. That's right. Who's the ace of this staff? And I think that's a very valid question right now in the month of August. But again, that's a question and that's not a concern for me today. But there's options. Oh boy, there's options. And there's a lot of them as well. 133 career wins between Bella Smith and Sam Landry. That's a lot of experience. And yes, it's a step up in competition for both of those pitchers, but it's not as if they've ever faced teams the caliber of what they're going to see this year in the SEC. Heck, Hope Troutwine came from North Texas, and she fared just fine at OU and helped carry one of those teams to a national championship. Smith and Landry will be good. In fact, under Jen Rocha, this could absolutely be one of, if not their best seasons in the circle. And that alone would put you in a really good spot in 2025. But along with that, I'm also expecting the best that we've seen from Kirsten Deal. At points last regular season, she was absolutely incredible. She looked like she might have been the best number 2 pitcher in all of college softball at points last season. Now, if KD really rises to the occasion and she has her best year, we'll be talking about another staff that's as deep as anyone else in softball. The flashes that Deal has shown are legit, but it's about consistency. She has all the tools to be great, no doubt about that, but can she be consistent this year? Can we see the best of what Kirsten Deal has to offer? Peyton Monticelli didn't pitch a ton this past year, but there's a reason that they wanted her back, and she's someone that you can count on. If nothing else, you'll be able to count on her in a relief role next year, which clearly could be very valuable when you're going throughout the grind of a season. And, of course, there's Audrey Lowry. And I think she's the wild card of this group. Incredible accolades coming in as a true freshman. But guys, what if she's great? She could very well be that type of player, and perhaps even as soon as this year. It certainly wouldn't be the first time we've seen a freshman emerge as the ace. You've got options outside of Audrey Lowry, yes. And if she isn't ready, then you'll be okay. But what if she is ready? What if she's ready to dominate her freshman season? Obviously, time will tell. And that's why I think that she's probably the biggest wild card. But regardless, I'm very excited about her potential and what's in store for her, not only next year, but the future of her career as well. She'll have every opportunity to be a weekend starter for this team. And I say weekend starter like we're talking about a college baseball team, but that's what this will be. Once again, it will be a pitching staff, not reliant on one arm or just 2 arms. This will be a pitching staff where all the names I've mentioned will probably have some sort of a role next season. Multiple arms who will start games during an SEC series, and I think you got to like that. Agree or disagree with my picks? As always, drop your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you for watching.